You are about to listen to a Jason Burgos exclusive interview.
What's up, brother?
I'm good. I'm excited as always to talk to you. I mean, there's tons of questions, so many things to ask you. I mean, first, the really the most important question, the primary question going into the new era. What is it like to hold pads for Shaq?
Oh man, guy's got a big old leg, huh? So I didn't know what to expect. Because I know he's into the sport. He understands it, like he likes it, you know. So I didn't know if he was going to go ahead and pivot on that foot or not, and blast me through the wall, or whether he was just going to lay one up for the camera. But it felt powerful. It was mostly leg. He didn't turn his hip over, but just that leg was a big old leg.
Do you think, I mean, because I would love to see something like that. It'd almost be like Bruce Lee versus Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I forgot the name of the movie, but Eddie Alvarez versus Shaq. Do you think you could take Shaq in a fight?
That sounds like a charity event. Yeah, man, come on. That's silly. It'd be like, that'd be silly. Weight difference or not. It's something I do every day. It'd be like, you know, whether I can beat him or not in basketball. I feel very confident in my chances.
Now, the first question, like I said, ton of questions for you. The first one is a question that actually came from the last week because a new member, a fellow member of the One roster, Martin Wynn, made a statement saying that he feels you have lost your fire and actually picking against you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
What do you think of him like coming out of nowhere and talking about you?
Oh, I have no problem with that. Mm-hmm. I don't. Lions don't concern themselves with opinions of sheep. I learned that a long time ago, earlier in my career.
Now, it's been a really long time since you have fought someone with like a level of experience of Timofey Nastyukhin. Nastyukin. Because, I mean, he's a younger fight. He's only got 16 fights. You have to go back all the way to Michael Chandler to have somebody with as little experience as he has. Is it odd at all, at 35 years old, with your career, as many titles as you won, to be fighting someone with as little experience as this guy?
No, it's a Grand Prix, so, I mean, seeding is the way it is. You're not always going to get a guy with 100 fights in the first round, but regardless, experience can be a double-edged sword. Sometimes experience can hurt guys. They think too much, they try to process too much, and they end up getting beat by a guy who's less experienced because he's not thinking, he's not processing, he's just instinctual and he's reacting in there. So I've trained with guys who are younger, who process a lot faster because they don't have all the experience and all the thought involved. So, could be good, could be bad. We'll see when we get in there. We don't know. You never know how things are going to go until you get inside that cage. So I'm excited to deal with that uncertainty and see what he comes with.
Now, since 2012, you have fought 7 former world champions and 3 fighters who have fought or are about to fight for a title. You know, more times than not, you have this huge test in front of you with like a huge resume and some of these guys you fought. So that's more than enough motivation. For someone like him that's on the way up, that could be a future star, is there motivation from fighting someone like that is a danger because he's a bit of an unknown, or just the whole experience of being Tokyo, debut for one, that in of itself is enough motivation for you?
So growth is always my motivation. It's never the opponent. The opponent can add a little bit, tiny bit, but that should never be my anything from the outside world should never have too much an effect on me. My growth of becoming a better fighter, and just living this life as a martial artist, that's motivation enough. I don't need much more. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to fight for a living when I was 19, 20 years old. And I already achieved my dream of doing that. So all this other extra stuff from there has been nothing but profit for me.
Have you scouted Timofey a bit? Like when you're looking at him or your coaches are scouting him, what do you see in him that makes him a dangerous guy to be taken very seriously?
Absolutely. The guy hits like a truck. He's very heavy-handed, very good athlete, quick, fast. Was a penetration champion. He beat their champion. He beat Edward Sullivan. He beat Amir Khan. He beat the top guys in this division. He beat the contenders and he beat the champion. So he's definitely no one to be overlooked. I'm not overlooking him, and I put in my best camp yet to prepare. So I'm excited for the challenge ahead.
Now, we talked in November, like right after you signed with one, and you mentioned Amir Khan, Ev Ting as possible guys you see yourself maybe facing sooner than later in one. Yet both are in the Grand Prix and both lost their quarterfinal bouts. Knowing that they were some of the more well-known fighters in the division, does that make you a little more excited for the lightweight division in one? Because you're like, whoa, those are the supposed to be the names, and they lost, so there might be a lot more depth in this division than I even might have thought in the first place.
No, I already felt there was depth. I didn't see them guys. I just didn't think them guys their ground and the things that they came to bring to the table. I didn't think they were well-rounded enough to continue anyway. I kind of pictured the guy Doggy beating. I pictured him beating Ting. I didn't see Ting even given a chance there. And I did think Khan had a better chance against who's the kid that he fought. I thought Khan had a better chance against him, but I knew the ground discrepancy was so far that if he fell to that even went to the ground for a second, that what would happen happened. So you can't have deep holes in your game. Even if you have holes, they can't be deep, and I think them guys have deep holes. So just something that they're gonna have to work on, and they're still young, so it's still things they can work on.
Now, the main event of this massive one card is Edward Fogliang versus Shinya Aoki. How do you see that fight playing out?
It's in Tokyo, so I think maybe Shinya will have some hometown advantage. Okay. He usually does well in Tokyo, and who knows how the judges will go. But I don't know if Shinya can overcome the athleticism of Fogliang. I think Fogliang comes in shape. He's always moving. He has a very good style to stay away from Aoki and to be athletic and keep out of his grip. So I just see Fogliang kind of getting it done. I see him getting the job done again, retaining his belt and then being champion. I don't know if I can picture Aoki, getting him to the floor and doing what he does.
Now,
but we'll see.
Without a doubt, this one card is huge. It's got Demetrius Johnson on it. It's got you on it. It's got 4 title fights. A few of them are rematches, which is awesome. Being on the biggest card in the promotion's history, one of the biggest cards of the year in MMA, do you embrace kind of being part of what feels like a possible momentum shift, like from the West to possibly the East as one is getting bigger and stronger? Do you feel cool and it's fun to be a part of a movement that might be starting here?
Absolutely. I think look, when you're with a company that's so large, you just feel like an employee. It's never fun. It's never exciting. But when you feel part of something, it's a different feeling inside. You wake up with a different energy. You don't go to bed so early. You're staying awake. You're thinking about the opportunities ahead. So it's just a whole different feeling than being with a giant company that you don't feel really a part of. You just feel like an employee. And I never joined this sport. I joined this sport because I didn't want to be an employee. I didn't want to feel like an employee. I want to feel like a part of something that's larger than myself. And with one, they made me a partner, and it's my obligation. I'm making it a very important part of my life to bring one to the United States and help bring them to become the next biggest thing in martial arts. So I'm okay with holding that responsibility and holding that torch.
Now, when we talked in November, you talked a lot about getting to compete in front of the Japanese fans again, how much you missed it, how much you're looking forward to it. I've talked to a lot of fighters, and when they're doing international fights, they maybe go out a week, 2 weeks out in advance. Do you plan to go out even further, maybe like 3 weeks, a month in advance? Not 3 weeks, but like, are you planning to go soon so you can get extra time in Tokyo and really enjoy it, or maybe like a week out?
I'm going 8 days out. I'm leaving Saturday. So I'm gonna leave Saturday and head 8 days out. Usually about 3 or 4 days to acclimate, and then I'll find my groove around the fourth, fifth day, and we'll be good to go. I don't want to overthink it. I think too many guys overthink that whole thing. They get out there early. They're away from their coaches. They're away from their team. They're away from their regiment. I don't think it's a good thing. So I want to keep my regiment, keep my coaches, my teammates close to me for as long as possible, and then I'll head out there and go to war. So I'm going to go 8 days out.
Now you are heading into your 16th year in the sport. You have fought on both sides of the globe in 9 different promotions. The UFC is doing well. Bellator seems to be doing well. PFL is giving out $1 million checks, and they got an ESPN deal. Combate Americas is making major moves in Latin America. One owns Asia, and promotions like ACB, KSW are doing well in Eastern Europe. Is this the greatest period the sport has ever seen in terms of quality talent and money-making opportunities for fighters?
No, it's the beginning, man. It's it. I honestly feel like the money's going to double and triple in the next 3 or 4 years. I think it'll double and triple for the athletes if the athletes are strategical and become free agents and make the most of their career. If athletes stay in contract and continue to sign shit deals and allow promotions not to share profits with them, then that'll continue. But there's a different shift of momentum going on where fighters are becoming free agents. They're becoming knowledgeable and knowing how much is being made and knowing that the sport in general, the fighters are severely underpaid. Mm-hmm. So I think everybody's hip to that and no longer wants to see that happen.
When you see something like some of the deals being thrown around by DAZN to Triple G and Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder's turning down $100 million for 3 fights. I mean, is it a frustrating thing? What do you feel needs to happen? Do we need a union? Do we need the Ali Act? How do we get to where, fighters can make that kind of money sooner than later?
Well, one, a union will never happen.
Yeah.
I mulled this over for a long time in my head, how that sort of thing can happen. How can I possibly even be a part of something? But that can't happen. Too many people have self-interest, and too many people have to pay bills immediately at the present time in order for that to happen. In order for that to happen, some billionaire philanthropist would have to come in and say, "Hey, I'm going to take all the top names, top 15 guys in the world. I'm going to pay all you guys a salary regardless, and you're all going to sit. And then we're going to do a bargaining agreement." That's the only way it would happen. If every single fighter sat and said, we're not going to fight, and then we're going to come up with an agreement until we fight. Mm. And somebody would have to, some rich billionaire would have to fund a lot of fighters' lives while they sat and waited. You know what I mean? That's the only way that would happen, because otherwise, fighters got to fight because their kids got to eat, girls got to get paid. So a union's just not going to happen. But what can happen is, I'm doing my best to let fighters understand that becoming a free agent at certain points of leverage in your career, you can double and triple your worth pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. So just trying to push out there, let fighters know the power of free agency and the money that is out there right now is a lot greater than what they think in their head. It's a lot greater.
And we talked about that in November too, and I'm glad you always bring it up because, for example, when you see recently Patricky and Patricio Pitbull re-sign with Bellator, which is great for Bellator, but as 2 of their biggest stars, and I've interviewed Patricio, and he's talked about how he doesn't get promoted enough, and he doesn't like that in that level. Do you think it's almost a bad thing that they re-sign right away, that they don't go out and really test the market and go on these tours that Vitor Belfort has gone on, and Sage Northcutt, and some of these guys? Do you think that's almost fighters hurting themselves by not going out and really testing that market more?
It depends on the fighter and depends on the situation. It's not for every single fighter. I'm not saying every single fighter. If you're virtually unknown becoming a free agent is probably not a good idea. But if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to go to free agency and you're not going to get any calls. And you're going to go, man, Eddie said they go test free agency.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's safer for certain situations, but not for every situation. I mean, if you're a name and you're a brand and you've put a footprint in this sport and you have a fan base, yeah, most likely there's going to be a need for you out in free agency. There's a ton of promotions, and there's a lot of promotions making money that are getting capital raises every couple months, but there's not a lot of free agents. So it's simple, supply and demand.
Now, two more questions I have for you. I always love asking you questions about the industry because you've been a part of it. You've been a success with the highest levels, and you have a great mind on the business. Now, Bellator is doing fun things as they have plans for a third Grand Prix. One has jumped on board with two of their own. Yet, if any division needed a Grand Prix to sort things out, it is probably like the UFC's lightweight division. I know you made your recent comments on how the interim titles are done, but what are your thoughts on how the promotion has handled that division with like Conor McGregor getting probably undeserved, super fight with you, and then them dragging their feet on stripping him of the title. Tony Ferguson gets defeated by a cable wire. I mean, or even Dustin Poirier having to over-earn a title shot. How do you feel this division, the most talent-rich in the world probably, has been handled over the last few years? Because you were the champion of it at one time.
Look, I'm not a promoter. I never want to be one. I don't envy Dana White's job at all. They have shareholders. They have people who want, they want their money back, and that comes first. And a lot of times when money gets in the way of sport and things like that, it kind of ruins the integrity of everything. So, if you really wanted the fan back, because the fans being lost, you know what I mean? Overall, I'm a fan of the sport. Before anything, before I'm a fighter, I'm a fan of MMA, and I believe in martial arts. And I know the fans. I'm connected with the fans. I talk to them every day. But the fan is being lost here in America. They're seeing what's going on. The championships, the belts, all that is losing value. So if the promotion doesn't care and they're losing value in the belt and the most prestige part of it, then why should the fighter and the fan? I think the best thing that a company like that could do is do a Grand Prix to let everyone know, we want to bring back the integrity of the sport. We want truly the best guy in the world to hold our championship belt. You know what I mean? And we're putting profit second, and we're putting integrity first. And that's why Bellator, when they came out, people like them. You know what I mean? That's why one championship's going to thrive, because I think profits come after you put a product together that's honest and true and full of integrity. People are going to watch that regardless, and people are going to tune in. So I'm excited.
Now, you turned 35 in January. Happy belated birthday to you. When I've talked to a lot of fighters, and when they're in their 30s, mid-30s, I talked to Bibiano Fernandez a few weeks ago. He was 30, he's 38. They say the proof to them is training with the younger fighters and seeing that they still are at a high level in the gym. How important is it the same way even for you? Like you're training with another legend, and Frankie Edgar, all the time, but you train with a guy like Zabit now. How important is it to train with the young lions coming up to maintain being a lion and keep your sword at its sharpest and be on the level?
It's super important, man. I think, look, energy is infectious. You know what I mean? When you're with these young guys and they're doing extra rounds and extra work and this and that, I'll never sit in a room and get out work. You know what I mean? I just won't do that. It's impossible. I can't physically do that. So just putting yourself around guys who have a high work ethic, high standards, and who are willing to go the extra mile, it just makes you do that. I'll never stand around and watch myself get out work. So being around Zabit, being around all the new young crop of guys coming up, it definitely plays a huge role in staying sharp and keeping alive in the sport. But I'm 35 years young, man. I can fight forever. I can fight for years. That's not a big deal to me. I was a natural athlete my whole life. I never try to do anything too fast. I love the sport, and I took my time with it. Whether I won or lost, I was never in a hurry. It's always been a marathon for me, and a marathon that I've been enjoying. So I'm going to continue to enjoy it, and whoever's in my path, good luck to them.
Is there a finish line at all to the marathon? Like, even when you were young, you thought 40, okay, I'll go to 40 and see what happens. Is that still something in your mind? Like, do you think 40 years old, or is it a year by year thing? Like, I feel good right now, I'm going to just keep doing it.
No, I don't care. I do what feels right. You know what I mean? I do what feels right. When I made my debut, I never ever said, "Oh, I'm 19. I'm gonna go make my debut. I'm gonna become champion. I'm gonna make millions of dollars. I'm gonna live in a neighborhood that's so safe that it's almost eerie. It's a little scary." I never said any of this. It all just happened because I was doing something that felt good. I was doing something that I love to do. So, I just feel things out. Same way I step inside a cage, I really don't know what's going to happen. I just feel things out and let them go. And I trust and believe that they're going to go my way.